Hello my loves and welcome back to a new video and a new wig. We are pink right now. Honestly, bear with me while I actually sort out how I want to wear this wig because I don't know if I like it. But anyway, in today's video I am going to be doing two things. I'm going to be doing my makeup with some new to me products. I got the Emily in Paris advent calendar and yes, I've opened it already. I've already rifled through and I'm going to be using those products today, and I'm also going to be using some products that I got from Temu. So if you wanna see the makeup being put on by a non-beauty guru and also hear me do a kind of cozy girls full guide inspired by Darlene Desi, I'm going to be talking about books, movies and TV shows. Then carry on watching. I want to make one thing clear before we begin. I am not a beauty guru. Do not expect awesomeness from this video. And with that, we're just gonna get on into doing the makeup. So I brought some new stuff. I brought the Emily in Paris advent calendar, and also I got some stuff from Temu. So this could flop hard. I could burn off my skin. You could use this video as a warning, a tester. I have sensitive skin. Also, as I said in the beginning, I'm going to be talking about some full favorites that I would recommend to you. This is like a full guide. I saw Darlene Desi do this video and she kind of talked about movies, TV shows and books that she loves during the fall. So I thought I would do the same thing, and we're going to start off with books, but we're also going to start off with concealer. So I have the Beauty Glazed Concealer. I got this from Temu. It suspiciously looks like the Rare Beauty one. I don't know how Temu get away with what they're doing. They literally have dupes, like carbon copies of popular makeup brands. So there's that. But I'm just going to put this under my eye and I'm going to blend it out with the little beauty blender that you get in the Emily in Paris advent calendar. So in terms of books, I really don't do concealer properly. I'm literally about to use my finger. If you're going to judge, that's on you. In terms of books for the fall, my first recommendation would of course be something witchy, something amazing, and that is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. First of all, the cover, I want it tattooed on me. We are following these three sisters who believe in witchcraft, believe in the witchiness, because obviously who doesn't? Well, I don't, but in a fantasy setting, yes. And they are estranged. Something happens and they just depart. Years later they end up meeting in Salem. Perfect fall setting, of course. They end up meeting in Salem and one of them is working pretty damn hard with the suffragettes. So we've got feminism and witchcraft, and what is better than that? That is all I'm gonna say, because otherwise I'm just gonna ruin this book for you. The next book I would recommend is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. This book, I can't necessarily say, oh, this is autumn. I don't think it is set in the autumn. I'm not even sure when this is set, but it definitely has an autumnal feel. And I don't know about you, but in the autumn time I tend to read more hard-hitting books, which this one definitely is because it is a exploration of grief and regret. We're following this character who was a bit of a micromanager. He was the boss of a company. He didn't really have any friends, quite a recluse, very mean to his employees. He just wasn't the nicest person. Then one day he just dies, ironically, at the office that he works at. The one thing I'm seeing, and I don't know if it's just like a problem with my eyes right now, but like this is very dry under my eyes, so I'm not too sure if I like it. It looks like I've aged. And I'm only 24. I don't really know about this concealer, but honestly it was like £2 on Temu, so I am not mad. So this man dies, and he is collected from his funeral. I don't know why I just did that. I've ruined it. He gets collected from his funeral by a reaper, and she's like, hey, you're dead now, I need to take you to the wait-in space. This wait-in space kind of exists in our world, and it's this cute little cafe that's run by ghosts, and people that are living can go in there, and they have no idea, they have no clue that the people that are serving them are actually dead, which I just thought was like a funny part to the story. So whilst this man is in this wait-in place, he starts to reflect on his life after conversations that he's having with these ghosts, and he comes to the conclusion that he did not live his life in the best way, that he did not have happiness, and he had a lot of regrets. So this story is about happiness and what that truly means. Personally, to me, it is an emotion and it's fleeting, and I prefer just kind of, do you know what, it doesn't matter. But I learned a lot from this book, and the ending absolutely destroyed me. So if you want a good book about grief with found family elements, then do it. This book could be a shout for you. Right, we are going to move on to the eyeshadow. We have two eyeshadow palettes, 3 eyeshadow palettes actually, to choose from. The first one is the Emily in Paris Haute Couture. It looks like this. So we have some gold. I do like the one that's Trauma Banks Paris Fantasy. Just a really pretty autumnal palette. And then we have Saint Tropez, which is this more, I don't know, this one's more boring in my opinion. It looks better on camera than it does in person. So they are the Emily in Paris picks. And then we also have a palette from Temu. This is the Twilight palette from You Can Be, Twilight and Dusk. Is it just me, or does it look a lot like the Huda Beauty Rose Gold one? But this is what it looks like on the inside. Some of these colours remind me a lot of the Modern Renaissance by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I'm just realising that I don't have any eyeshadow brushes with me, and it's like right under where I put my makeup, so I will be right back. I think we might go for a look with a few of the palettes. So as I'm doing that, I'm gonna talk about books still. We are still talking about full recommendations. So another great one I think is Sadie by Courtney Summers. Now this book features a podcast, which if you know me, and if you don't know me, you're about to learn something new. I love mixed media books, especially ones that feature podcasts. True crime, thrillers with podcasts, my absolute favourite thing ever. I'm going to take this colour Blazing right at the bottom. It's like a brown, look at that powder flying everywhere. So Sadie is a girl who goes missing, and we are following this true crime podcast that is covering her case. So we have these chapters that is the podcast, but we also have chapters of Sadie during her journey when she's gone missing at the time. I don't know why I just did quotation marks. She does go missing. That does happen. Okay, so first of all, it's nice, but the color payoff isn't it's not amazing. Let's be real, it's not amazing. So Sadie. The best thing about this book, I would absolutely recommend you to listen to the audiobook. The reason I would say listen to the audiobook over reading it physically, I'm also using trauma bangs whilst we talk about a book about trauma. The reason I would say to listen to the audiobook is because it sounds like a true crime podcast. It has sound effects. All the interviews are conducted through a phone, and it actually sounds like this person is on the phone being interviewed. There's like a distance with it, you know, that noise when you're on a phone. And it's just absolutely incredible, and I love it. I adore it. Absolutely in love with it. So Sadie is one of my favourite books of all time, I just have to say. I would also recommend The Book Thief for this time of year. Honestly, just books with heavy topics are good for fall. I know everyone's into this cozy thing right now, and don't get me wrong, I am too. It's just, I tend to just go for books with heavy topics during the fall. What should we go on the lids? What should we put on the lids? I'm gonna go with Retrograde from the You Can Be palette. Yeah. I don't know, it seems a bit powdery, you know, when oh, but that is nice. Okay, we're gonna go for it. Do you know when it's fall and you just, I personally want cozy and dark. Cozy and dark is the way to go. It's the way to go. 2 different vibes for 2 different moods. And I honestly think that The Book Thief is a really good choice for this. It's also super heartwarming, and much like the book I spoke about before, Under the Whispering Door, it has that found family element to it. So if you are a fan of that, then there's a situation with my eye. It looks like the eyeshadow has, you know, kind of departed on my eye. Okay, I guess we'll do one eye with this and then the other eye with one of the Emily in Paris. I think Party might be pretty close to this colour. We will put Party on my wow. Okay. Maybe I just didn't prime my eyes properly. This video is everywhere. I feel like I can't even explain the book component. So yes, The Book Thief. If you don't know what that's about, I'm shocked. It's a classic. A very good one, in my opinion. I'm going to show you the stitch close up because, okay, this is what is going on. You can see that it's not covered my eyelids properly, but it's fine. I'm going to be filming from far away for my next video that I'm doing. I mean, it doesn't look so bad now. Just need a little bit of zhuzhen. Right, I think that's it for the eyeshadow. We're just gonna stay quite neutral today. I say that, but I'm sat here with sparkles on my face. That is not a new product, but I'm still just gonna sit here and go through the motions with you. So I have the Fenty contour stick in the shade Amber. I'm going to recommend one more book, then we can move on to movies and TV shows. So. The last book I want to recommend to you today is... The last book I want to recommend you today is, let me think, because I did not come prepared. Someone's going to tell me my technique's off and I'm doing it wrong. Like, I just know that. But also, again, I am not a beauty guru, and I just do things my way or the highway. The last book I want to recommend to you is the book I just finished, and this book has just come out. It's a new release, and that is Rouge by Mona Awad. Honestly, the perfect time for this book to release is now, as we go into the colder months. This book just screams fall. And yes, because it's Mona Awad, it is very weird. Like, if you've read Bunny or All's Well, which I DNF'd both of those books, I just knew Mona would come through for me. I need to call her Mona. I just knew at some point there would be a Mona Awad book for me. And I found it, and I fucking gave it 5 stars. I gave it 5 stars. This book was incredible. And yes, very weird. Very weird, and focused on quite hard topics. It featured a kind of abusive mother and daughter relationship. Like, this woman was a bit like, are you okay? And it also focuses on grief, because at the beginning of the story, our main character, Belle, loses her mum. And it's very weird circumstances as she starts to uncover, you know, the secret life that her mum was living whilst Belle was living in Montreal. Montreal? Do you know what? I have no idea where in the US that is. But Belle moves there to get away from her mother at some point. And she returns to sort out her mother's affairs, basically. You know, just to clean up her apartment. And she realizes that her mother has left her with a shit ton of debt. And she's like, what the hell has this woman been doing? I have to deal with all this debt, and it's not even mine. So she's panicking about all of that, whilst also discovering her mother's secret. So there's this cult based in beauty and skincare, and Belle and her mother are both obsessed with beauty and skin, and this is reflected a lot throughout the book. And there are some parts of it that's super toxic, the way her mum treated her in regards to beauty and the men that she would bring home. Too much away, but this book was pretty intense at points, and there were some parts where I was like, I'm confused, and this book is just vibes. I'll be honest, not much happens. It takes us a while to actually get to the meat and the juice, like the cult stuff, but I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed the way it was written, I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the themes that this explored, and just, it was amazing. I kind of wish I vlogged my experience, but this was the book that I couldn't put down, and I missed that feeling. By the way, we're going to use the Revolution eyebrow thing, but I'm actually not gonna film myself doing this because I am not good at eyebrows. You know what, it's pretty late, so we're gonna accept that the brows are not working out too well. But we're also gonna move on to the movie component of this video. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge horror movie fan anymore. I used to be. I used to love horror a lot. Also, I am using the URQ2 Magic Color Shimmer, which this is a highlighter, and it is purple. And you just look at that. It's just really fun. So I thought I would just do this. I'm really not sure how I'm meant to make the product move up and out, but we're just gonna hope for the best. So a bit of purple everywhere. There is no technique to what I'm doing. So in terms of movies, of course, one I watch absolutely every year for Halloween is, of course, Halloween Town, the Disney Channel original movie Halloween Town. because honestly right now I'm more into cozy nostalgic films than I am into horror. But I am gonna give two horror recommendations. So in terms of the cozies, I love Halloween Town. I also love Twitches 1 and 2. I think I prefer the second one. Something about me is I am just such a sequels girl. I'm such a sequels girl. I love sequels. Unpopular opinion, but Grease 2 absolutely slaps for me. Yeah, I love Grease 2. See, I'm not gonna recommend Grease 2 as an autumnal thing, but I do. I mean, I guess because they go back to school in September. You know, I'm gonna recommend it. Grease 2. Grease 2 slaps. They go back to school in September, and there's literally a song about going back to school now. Yeah. So I'm gonna recommend Grease 2. And there's literally that season song. I'll be yours in springtime when the flowers are in bloom. I actually love that soundtrack. I don't even care what everyone says. I fucking love Grease 2. Another movie I absolutely love for the autumn time is Halloween. We love Halloween. And you know what? I love the Rob Zombie. I know people are kind of divided in terms of whether we should like it. It is quite sexual horror, and I've learned that his movies are very sexual horror, but as a girly that I'm not going to reveal myself on the internet or past me definitely had a mask kink, so there's no surprise that I would like the Rob Zombie version. I just also like the psychological aspects of the Rob Zombie one is just, you know, sometimes you need that substance in horror, because especially with the Michael Myers ones, it's like kill, kill, kill. But when it goes into like a backstory of how and why he became this way, even though there's a theory that he's a supernatural villain and he just gets more powerful with every movie. I just love that like psychological aspect of the Rob Zombie ones, so I definitely recommend those. But I love the second Halloween. That one's good. See, I'm a sequels girl. And of course, my last like horror recommendation is Scream 1996, the original. I recommend the original and the 5th and 6th Screams. They are my favorite. You know, at first I was like, I'm scared. Like, I'm scared for Scream to be adapted for the new generation. I felt like too much would change. And on top of that, it's like a different team behind it. But do you know what? I should have heightened my expectations and had faith in them. This mascara is a little bit clumpy, but I kind of like it. From the Emily in Paris kit, we have the lip liner. It doesn't have a name. And we also have a lipstick. This is in Chicago Pink Nude. I'm assuming these two go together, so I'm gonna use them. I also have a red one. I just don't want to wear a red color right now. That's very Emily. I'm gonna go for the nude. Now back to the movies. Back to the movies. I would also recommend watching The Grinch early. I've already watched it twice, like from August. I just love The Grinch. Also, I'm not good at lip liner. I'm just gonna follow my natural line. Yeah, I just love watching The Grinch. And me and my brother watched The Nightmare Before Christmas today, and I just love that. That's one of our movies that we like to watch together. And perfect. before this video gets too long, I'm gonna recommend some TV shows that I think are perfect for the autumn time. Is this too nude for me? I feel like I just look like a naked mole rat. Okay, so in terms of TV shows, obviously we're gonna talk about Gilmore Girls. It is la 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 season. It's the la season. I don't make the rules, but once it hits September, Gilmore Girls, watch it. Watch it. This is a show that you have to watch in the period of September to December. Personally, I've been known to watch it all year round, but it completely hits at those times, in my opinion. Or is it even an opinion? Do you know what? It's a fact. And if you don't believe it, then you're Delulu. You're Delulu. Sorry to break it to you. Gilmore Girls is literally my favourite show of all time. I am in love with it. I love Gilmore Girls. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Rory Gilmore, but what can you do? What can you do? Another show I would recommend for the autumn time is Once Upon a Time. You can watch this on Disney Plus. Yeah, I love this show. It's not like, I've tried to rewatch it and I usually get to season 6 and then end. I don't like season 7. But if you are wanting a show with long episodes and honestly just a long show, Once Upon a Time is really good. Fairy tale characters in the real world, immaculate, amazing. I would also recommend One Tree Hill. I don't really have a basis for why I would recommend it for the fall. It's probably because I'm watching it now and it is autumn time. But I love One Tree Hill. I love One Tree Hill. I'm not going to stop recommending it. Another show I would recommend for the autumn time is Ginny and Georgia. This show is about a mother and a daughter. They kind of have quite a weird relationship. You could compare it to Gilmore Girls. Their relationship is very like friends almost, rather than mother and daughter. I'm not saying Georgia's a bad person or a bad mother, but there are moments. There are moments in this show. So we're kind of following them and their lives as they move away, and Georgia has this kind of like secret past that we dive into. That's all I'm gonna say. It's like Gilmore Girls but dark with a little bit of murder. I would also recommend Glee. I'm not me if I'm not recommending Glee, so I recommend Glee. Especially, I feel like the parts where Rachel and Kurt are at Niada is very autumn time, especially when the term starts. I'm thinking outside the box. I'm like, my favourite shows when they go back to school in September, so I can recommend this as an autumnal show. But yeah, that is everything that I have for you today. This is the finished product. This is the finished look. I am gonna put on my wig just because I want to, so I'm gonna go do that. 3, 2, 1. All right, we are all done.